Picture your life 12 months from now. Same apartment, same job, same Sunday night dread knowing Monday is coming. Your bank account looks almost identical to what it looks like right now, maybe a little worse after inflation quietly ate another 4% of everything you worked for this year. Now, picture a different version. Same income, same starting point, but 12 months ago you stopped winging it and actually built a system. And now, your money is doing something it's never done before. It's working without you. That gap between those two versions of you? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even how much money you make. It comes down to whether you learn what I'm about to show you and actually do something with it. Here's the truth nobody in finance wants to say out loud. Most millennials aren't broke because they're bad with money. They're broke because they were handed a playbook written for their parents' economy and told to win a completely different game with it. 6 figures doesn't feel like 6 figures anymore. Homeownership looks like a hostage situation. And every finance influencer online is either selling a course or saying just invest in index funds, like that's supposed to mean something when you're still carrying credit card debt from 2023. I'm Max, and I've spent the last few years obsessing over one question. What does actually building wealth look like for someone starting right now in this economy with a normal salary and zero inheritance? What I found was not what I expected. This video is the complete guide. 4 phases, 0 fluff. Built specifically for 2026, the interest rates we actually have, the market we're actually living in, and the financial situation most of us are actually in. No course at the end, no sponsored brokerage telling you to sign up for free stocks, just the framework. Let's get into it. Phase 1. Kill the anchor. Before we talk about investing a single dollar, I need you to look at something most people avoid like a WebMD diagnosis: your debt. Not your mortgage, not your student loans. We'll get there. I'm talking about the high-interest consumer debt, the credit card you're carrying a balance on, the buy now, pay later stuff that felt harmless when you clicked confirm, the personal loan with an interest rate that should be illegal. Here's the thing the banks absolutely do not want you to understand. While you're out here researching which ETF to buy, your credit card is sitting at 24% interest, quietly eating your future alive. Every single month you carry that balance, you are handing the bank a guaranteed return on your money. You're just on the wrong side of the transaction. I see this constantly. People ask me, Max, should I invest my extra $300 a month or pay off my debt? And I have to break the news gently. If your debt is at 20% interest and the stock market historically returns around 10%, the math is not a debate. Paying off that debt is your investment, and it's the best returning one available to you right now. Guaranteed, risk-free, no brokerage account required. Here's what I want you to do. Write down every debt you have with the interest rate next to it. Ignore the balances for now. Rank them from highest rate to lowest. That top one? That's the enemy. Every spare dollar you have goes there while you pay minimums on everything else. This is called the avalanche method, and it is mathematically the fastest way out. I know the debt snowball people are going to come for me in the comments. Yes, paying smallest balances first feels good, but feelings don't compound. Math does. And here's the psychological piece nobody talks about. Debt doesn't just cost you interest, it costs you courage. When you're carrying debt, you don't ask for the raise. You don't quit the job that's killing you. You don't take the risk that could change your life, because you can't afford for anything to go wrong. The bank owns a piece of your decision-making, and they love it that way. Kill the high-interest debt first. Everything else builds on this. Without it, you're filling a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Phase 2. Build the wall. Okay, high-interest debt is dead. You feel like a new person. You're ready to open Robinhood and become the next Warren Buffett. Stop. I need you to do something first that's going to feel deeply unsatisfying. You need to build a cash wall before you invest a single dollar in the market. I know. Every finance influencer is telling you that cash is trash, that inflation is eating your savings, that you need to be fully invested at all times. And honestly, they're not completely wrong. Eventually. But right now, at this stage, they're setting you up to fail. Here's what actually happens to people who skip this step. Life shows up. Your car needs $1,400 in repairs. Your laptop dies the week before a huge work deadline. Your landlord raises the rent, and you need first and last. And because your money is locked up in a market that's down 15% that month, because markets do that regularly without warning, you have to sell your investments at a loss just to survive. You didn't lose money because the market is bad. You lost money because you had no buffer between you and real life. Think of your emergency fund as the wall that protects your entire investment strategy. Without it, one bad month can undo a year of good decisions. The target is 3 to 6 months of your actual bare-bones expenses, not your lifestyle expenses. Survival math. Rent, food, utilities, minimum payments. Multiply that by 3. That number goes into a high-yield savings account. Right now in 2026, you can find rates around 4 to 5%, which means your wall is actually earning something while it sits there. And then you leave it alone. It is not for a vacation. It is not for a TV deal. It is not for crypto that a coworker told you about. It is a fire extinguisher. You don't use a fire extinguisher unless there is an actual fire. Once that wall is built, now we talk about the real game. Phase 3. The portfolio. Here is where the financial industrial complex loves to overcomplicate things, because complexity sounds like expertise, and expertise sells courses. I'm going to make this embarrassingly simple. When you are starting out, your only job is to not lose. That sounds obvious, but stay with me. Most new investors blow themselves up in year 1 chasing excitement. They want the stock that's going to 10 times. They want the crypto play their coworker whispered about. They want to feel like they're doing something clever. Here's the brutal truth. Over a 15-year period, more than 90% of professional fund managers, people with Ivy League degrees, Bloomberg terminals, and teams of analysts, fail to consistently beat the S&P 500 index. 90%. These are people paid millions of dollars to pick stocks, and most of them lose to a simple index fund that requires zero skill to buy. So if the professionals can't beat it, what are the odds you're going to outsmart the market from your couch? I say this with love. Approximately 0. The move in 2026 is boring. It is deliberately, aggressively, almost offensively boring. You buy a low-cost total market index fund, something like VTI or FSKAX, and you automate a contribution every single paycheck. Then you do the hardest thing in investing. Nothing. You watch it go up. You watch it go down. You don't touch it. Historically, the market returns around 10% annually before inflation. That's not every year. Some years it's up 25%, some years it's down 20%. But zoom out over a decade and the direction is one way, up. Now, I'm not a robot. I know you're going to want to put some money somewhere exciting. So here's what I actually do. I take 90% of my investable money and it goes into boring index funds on autopilot. The other 10%, and strictly only 10%, I'm allowed to be an idiot with. That's the satellite, a stock I believe in, a sector play, whatever. If it goes to 0, my financial life is completely fine. If it pops, great, but I never let the gambling money touch the foundation money, never. One more thing on the 2026 market specifically. Interest rates have been doing things that would make your grandpa's head spin. The environment we're in right now means bonds are actually worth looking at again, something that would have been laughable a few years ago. If you're within 10 years of needing this money, having some bond exposure isn't cowardice, it's math. Phase 4. The tax shield. This is the phase that almost nobody talks about until it's too late, and it's the one that's going to cost you the most if you ignore it. You can do everything right. Kill the debt, build the wall, invest in index funds consistently for years, and still quietly hand the government 20 to 30% of everything you built. Unless you know about the accounts. Here's the thing about the tax code that they definitely did not teach you in school. The government actually built in legal ways to shelter your investments from taxes. Not for the ultra-wealthy, for you. A 401k, a Roth IRA, an HSA if you have a high-deductible health plan. These accounts are the cheat code hiding in plain sight. Let me show you why this matters with real numbers. You invest $10,000. Over 30 years, it grows to $100,000. In a regular brokerage account, when you go to use that money, you owe taxes on $90,000 of gains. At a 20% capital gains rate, that's $18,000 handed straight to the IRS. In a Roth IRA, that withdrawal is completely tax-free. You keep all $100,000. Same investment, same returns. $18,000 difference, just because of which account it lives in. Here's the order I want you to follow. This is non-negotiable. First, contribute to your 401k up to whatever your employer matches. Full stop. If your employer matches 4% and you're not contributing at least 4%, you are leaving free money on the table. That is a 100% instant return. You cannot beat it anywhere in the market. Second, max out your Roth IRA. In 2026, the limit is $7,000. This is tax-free growth for the rest of your life. Third, If you have a high-deductible health plan, max your HSA. It is triple tax-advantaged. Contributions go in tax-free. It grows tax-free. Withdrawals for medical expenses are tax-free. It's the most powerful account most people have never heard of. Fourth, go back and fill up the 401k beyond the match. Only after all of those buckets are full does a single dollar go into a regular brokerage account. Think of it like a waterfall. The money flows down through the tax-advantaged levels first and only spills into the taxable account after everything else is full. I'd be doing you dirty if I ended the video without saying this. Everything I just walked you through only works as fast as your income allows, and there's a hard floor on how much you can cut from your expenses. You can optimize your budget perfectly and still be playing defense if your income isn't growing. The latte thing? That's not what's keeping you broke. You cannot save your way to wealth on a salary that isn't growing. I'm sorry, the math just doesn't work. Here's the actual lever most millennials aren't pulling: your primary income. A 10% raise on a $60,000 salary is $6,000 a year, every year, that compounds through your 401k match, your tax brackets, your future raises, your Social Security credits. That blows any side hustle income out of the water in long-term value. So here's what I want you to do alongside everything else. Identify the one skill that makes you undeniable in your field. Not 10 skills, one. Give it one focused hour a day, the hour you're currently giving to doom scrolling, and in 6 months, you have something concrete to negotiate with. Increasing your income doesn't just add money, it multiplies every single other step in this framework. So that's the complete playbook for 2026. Phase 1. Kill the high-interest debt using the avalanche method. It is a guaranteed return that no investment can touch. Phase 2. Build the cash wall. 3 months of survival expenses in a high-yield savings account before a single dollar goes into the market. Phase 3. Invest in boring, low-cost index funds on autopilot. Keep the gambling money to 10% and never let it touch the foundation. Phase 4. Use the tax-advantaged accounts first, always. The waterfall method: 401k match, Roth IRA, HSA, then the rest. And on top of all of it, grow the shovel. Income is the multiplier for everything else. The game is rigged toward people who already have money. That part is real, and I'm not going to gaslight you about it. But these 4 phases exist specifically in the cracks of that rigged system. They are legal. They are available to you right now. And the people who built real wealth from nothing use them. You don't need a financial advisor charging you 1% a year to figure this out. You don't need a rich family. You need the framework and the discipline to follow it, even when it feels boring. The boring path is the wealth path. I'll see you in the next one.